we've kind of lost two comedic legends within the same week of each other, which is kind of crazy. One to kind of start off, to end the year 2021 on a sad note, and we're kind of starting off 2022 in a similar way with Bob Saget's passing this past week. I mean, dude was only 65. No foul play.
Really young. Yeah. Super young.
Did you say rum?
I don't know what I said, but it wasn't what I wanted to say.
He probably would have wanted some rum too, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's Bob Saget. But there was no foul play, luckily. He was in his hotel room in Florida on tour when they found that he had passed. We haven't found any concrete reason for the passing yet, but there was no foul play, which is good. Not that I thought he ever would have been that kind of person, but you don't necessarily know.
True.
And for many of us, he was kind of the TV dad. Certainly for me, growing up with Full House airing in reruns on Nick at Night, that was my exposure to it. A lot of people my age, that's how we were exposed to it, after the fact syndication.
Yep.
But for many growing up in the 90s, he was just there as a dad, which is so funny because Danny Tanner is almost nothing like Bob Saget. He is as crass and dirty a comedian as you can find. And here he is, this guy on TV, one of the most popular shows at the time, just being Mr. Clean and being a neat freak and just being a caring, loving father. Not that Bob Saget wasn't a caring, loving person in real life, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and just to give you guys some context,
yeah.
I'm sitting here as somebody who only knows him from one 2-minute clip I saw on Jim Gaffigan's YouTube channel this morning. That's it. I don't know anything else about Bob Saget. I know his name. I know he exists. I know he passed. I've at a very young age, and it's very unfortunate. But I've never seen Full House. I've never seen any of his other work. But even just from that 2 minutes of him interacting with Jim and Jeannie, Jim Gaffigan's wife, and their 5 kids, I got the sense that he was like just a real solid dude off camera, which means he was a solid dude on camera. And, you know, I won't say it made me want to go out of my way and learn more about him, but it was like, all right, I can understand why people really appreciated what he brought to the table, much in the same way the other person we're going to talk about.
Yes. He was just honest. He was just an honest person. It never seemed like he was going to cross you or try to get ahead himself. He was just someone that you could trust in kind of a dishonest business, you know, and even that continued further on, certainly with How I Met Your Mother. He was the narrator of that show for all 9 seasons. He was the dad. He was Ted Mosby as if he were grown up.
I saw that on the little thing you got on the screen.
Yeah,
that absolutely blew my mind, because I was a big fan of How I Met Your Mother. For the, you know, it got a little stale after a while, but I enjoyed what of it I watched. And I had no idea who narrated it, but you know, that face to name, now I know.
Yeah,
or, name to voice, actually, because I never saw him. You know.
Right, no, that's exactly. He was kind of a surprise. I don't really think anybody truly knew. I certainly didn't. My mom didn't. We didn't know that he was going to be on the show at all. We kind of didn't know what to make of it at first, because it was Neil Patrick Harris kind of coming back out of nowhere, and it was just a very underground cast. And I think obviously your 5 main stars were really strong, but Bob Saget is also a large part of that identity too, with the How I Met Your Mother show, in my humble opinion. As being mentioned in the chat, yes, he did compete on The Masked Singer. His Instagram is actually quite funny, and he typically isn't one to hold back on his sense of humor, but it was
nice.
It was never to the point of trying to hurt anybody. It was always just out of dirty, clean fun.
All right, so it was organic.
Yes, very organic.
One of the things I think that is so effective about that type of comedy is, yeah, maybe he takes a few jabs, but it's never at anybody else's expense. And this is something, I don't know if this is who Bob Saget is, but I always respect comedians that do things like that. Is that line up with how he presented himself? Definitely.
Well, it's funny. Yes, in terms of almost anything else that wasn't television related, yes, that was how he presented himself, but it's such a large contrast to what he would have been on Full House, or even really the Bob Saget that sticks out to me the most as a kid, that I felt like I had a one-up on compared to everyone else my age, because my mom taped a bunch of America's Funniest Home Videos from when he hosted for those 7, 8, kind of 9 seasons. And for some reason, I always just felt those videos in general were funnier than the videos that are on nowadays, but I always just felt like he had a nice, strong sense of sarcasm with it to enhance the viewing experience after the video had finished, the home video had finished playing. So,
Okay. You know, America's Funniest Home Videos was kind of YouTube before YouTube, wasn't it?
quite.
Like, think about what YouTube is today, chat. It's a bunch of people that are walking around with cameras, right? And they're vlogging about different things. I happen to be a big car guy, so a lot of the vlogs that I used to watch a lot were the car vlogs. People, you know, working on them, building them, buying them, driving them, racing them, crashing them. A lot of the time it was crashing them. But outside of that, it's like, here's this 30-second clip of a cat tucked into a blanket that's meowing really loud, and 5.5 million people are like, interesting. You know?
Yeah.
And like,
and you can get paid for it.
and you get, you turn on the ads.
You can win cash prizes.
Yeah, cash and prizes for your purring cat.
Sorry, I was thinking of the 90s, maybe. Yeah, just he was a real classy guy in a really non-classy way. And I think Bob Saget is very okay with being remembered in that way. I'm seeing through the chat, and thank you / Oi for kind of bringing it up as far as Fuller House, the sequel series to Full House. We haven't done an official review on Fuller House here on Knights of the Dirty Table for good reason, because it's just too cringe for me. And almost in a way, it feels like when Danny Tanner did appear on Full House, he wasn't necessarily a full cast member on the show, but he would appear sporadically. I mean, he didn't necessarily have too much else going on. He was free enough to come on. It didn't quite have the same warmth that the original Danny Tanner had in the 90s. It almost felt like he was aware of the joke. It felt like the entire cast was aware of the joke, of how cheesy the show is. And yet, for some reason, it still felt natural. Like when you watch the original Full House, it still feels natural within the world. Everyone caring for each other. But
Okay.
Fuller House, they're just kind of caricatures of themselves, and it just never meshed well. And I kind of hate that I wasted my time watching all 5 seasons of the show, to tell you the truth. I kept hoping it would get better, and I was led to disappointment, just like my romantic life. But that's obviously another story for another time.
That you're going to find out about on February 11th during the second half of Merrick's show. Come on down!
I had to. It was too easy.
On topic, not of that, but back to Full House and Fuller House.
Right,
Yeah. Cut yourself a little slack, buddy.
I'm good.
Seriously.
I'm good.
Fuck, I lost my point. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So I this is coming from somebody who's never watched either of those.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a little bit like how early Family Guy is very like, yeah, it's funny, but Peter and Lois still very much care about their kids, and they're actually decent parents when they try. But the later seasons, the show is so self-referential, and it's joking on joking on joking. Like, for example, there's a clip I saw of one of the later episodes where Stewie and Brian are like, hey, Stewie's like, hey, do you want to end this with a to be continued meme? And so, like, for any of you who watched that JoJo anime, you were like, ah! But yeah, and so, and then there's that whole episode called Cutaway Land that's just cutaway after cutaway after cutaway. Is it kind of like that? Where they're kind of all in on the joke, but
That's all of Fuller House. Like
Yeah.
you would say the first 3 seasons of Family Guy would be all of Full House, and Family Guy from here on in is
Fuller House.
Fuller House. Yeah.
But still funny. I like New Family Guy.
Oh,
I'm a
I was
fan.
thinking Fuller House. I thought you were saying, but Fuller House is still funny, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
No.
Says the guy who's never seen it.
Yeah, no,
What the
that-
fuck do I know? I don't. That's just the thing.
you're just a really smart guy. I didn't know if you just happened to know that it was just not funny.
Yeah. I think of myself as intelligent, not necessarily smart. Because smart, I look at those two words differently. Smart means you know a lot of stuff. Anybody can do that. Intelligent means you can solve problems and think critically and be creative, which actually I believe everybody's intelligent. It's just whether you choose to access it or not. You know? Like you believe that, I can solve any problem. I can do anything that I put my mind to and be guided to. That's how I look at intelligence. It's more like using your natural abilities plus some guidance from, use whatever name you want for a guiding force. I call it God. You might call it the universe or whatever. But I look at those two things together as intelligence.
I think that's really nice. I wouldn't give myself that much credit. But moving on.
Again, cut yourself a break. Jesus Christ.
No, when I'm the man in the chair, I have all the power for better or worse, and I can go as far or as lackluster as I want to.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll see you later.
Cheers. Good night. roll that beautiful bean footage.
Whoa. Welcome to the end of the Knights of the Dirty Table video that you just watched. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to our channel, like our video, share with all your friends, and catch our live stream every Friday live at 5, only on the Zenden Studios Twitch channel. I gotta go wander off into space. See ya! Whoa! Whoa!